healing from the wound of an unfaithful woman. That's so deep. Not because it breaks your trust. No, that is just minor. I know it hurts very deep because it shakes your worth and your identity as a man and your sense of reality. I know what hurts the most wasn't about her unfaithfulness, but it's about how you trusted her with your vulnerability. It's about how you built a future with her in your mind. It's about how you trusted her words, her promises, and her loyalty. So I understand you are grieving, and your grief is valid. I understand you are grieving the version of love you thought it was so real. So yes, you are permitted. Cry, let it out, because your nervous system sometimes needs to let this out. Don't listen to what society will tell you. I want you to understand that her unfaithfulness was about her inner fractures, not your insufficiency. Unfaithful behavior often comes from unhealed need for validation. It often comes from emotional emptiness. It often comes from fear of intimacy and also poor boundaries. And sometimes it comes from unresolved trauma. Let me tell you one thing. Even strong, loving, present partners get betrayed. One thing that I want you to keep in your mind is that faithfulness is a character choice, not a reward you earn for being good. So get it. You didn't lose because you lack, but you were injured because you trusted. And hear me out. Trust is not foolishness. You trusting someone is not foolishness. It is courage. You had the courage to do what many people didn't do. I understand society will tell you to be strong, forgive quickly, move on, and to be matured because that is what they see it to be a man's behavior. But do not bypass emotions. Healing requires allowing your anger to flow, and the righteous anger is that, not that other one. It requires you to allow sadness. It requires you to allow frustration, shame, and sometimes even longing for what used to be. And if you try to suppress it, it will leak and will turn into bitterness. It will turn into emotional numbness. It will turn to distrust for all women and even self-sabotage in future relationship. So allow yourself, okay? Allow yourself to cry. I want you to do one thing. I want you to separate closure from reconciliation. I want you to know this. You don't need her apology to heal. You don't need her explanation. You don't need her remorse. You don't need her understanding to heal. Closure is something you give yourself, not something she grants you. I know reconciliation requires accountability. It requires constant changing. It requires transparency. It requires time. But healing does not. You can heal even if she never admits it. Even if she never admits the truth, you can still heal. You can still heal even if she moves on quickly, even if she forgets about you, even if she minimizes it, you can still heal. I want you to know that your healing is not hostage to her character. I want you to know you can rebuild trust, but this time around, start with yourself. Start with You don't be like most people who will say, I will never trust any woman again. Don't be. That is a minor cut. What you're going through, this situation, it's a minor cut. You not trusting a woman again, it's a minor cut. The deeper wound is when you don't trust your own judgment anymore. That is the deeper wounds. Let me tell you what healing looks like. Healing looks like you relearning your own intuition. Healing looks like you not gaslighting your own red flags the next time you see them. Healing looks like you trusting you will walk away faster if disrespected again. That is what healing looks like. What you are supposed to ask yourself at this very moment is that what signs did I ignore earlier? Not to blame yourself, but to learn from it. Ask yourself, why did I abandon myself to keep this relationship or to keep that relationship going? And note that every answer you get here restores your inner authority as a man. I want you to forgive, but forgiveness does not mean excusing betrayal. Forgiveness does not mean reopening access or pretending it's never happened. Forgiveness does not mean allowing repeated disrespect. True forgiveness happens after anger has been spoken. That is why I told you were free to get angry on the phone. You were free to yell, you were free to scream. Forget what society says. True forgiveness happens after grief has been honored. True forgiveness happens after boundaries are firmly placed. Forgiveness is not for her own peace, but it's for your own nervous system to rest. And if you're not there at this very moment, I understand it, and that is okay. Don't rush anything. Okay, don't rush into any relationship. Let me say this for you to understand. Do not rush into any relationship just because you want to prove you are okay. Before loving again, I want you to redefine love. Love is not intense without integrity. Love is not attention without loyalty. Love is not worth without alignment. Honestly, a healthy love feels consistent. Healthy love feels calm. A healthy love feels boring to the chaos addicted heart. I want you to remember that being betrayed does not make you weak. It means you were brave enough to open your heart. And a heart that can open once can reopen again. This time around, it will open with wisdom. You will open that heart with boundaries and self-respect. You are not broken just like that, but you are becoming more whole again. So I permit you to cry and forget about what society says about being a man in such a situation. Let it out and be free.